The Leprechaun's Curse was released in 2021, and is directed by Louisa Warren. This is on Tubi. If you haven't checked out my last review, I'm reviewing two films for Patty's Day called The Leprechaun's Game and The Leprechaun's Curse, which I'm reviewing here. This one is 2021. Leprechaun's Game came out in 2020. They're not sequels, so they are two different stories, but they're the same director, Louisa Warren, and they have the same leprechaun character played by Bao Tio, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Bao Tio. Just like the last review, I'm going to try and say as much positive as this film as I can. I really was not the biggest fan of either. Like I said, I'm not going to like bash the films and talk about everything terrible about them, but I will say that this film, The Leprechaun's Curse, is like the slightest hair better than The Leprechaun's Game. And I will say that mostly because of the kills. Mostly because of the kills, and the acting is like just that little tiny weeny bit better. But what elevates this movie just a smidge is the kills. The kills are better. There's a good eye gouge kill in this film. There's good gore effects when there needs to be, and it's just a little bit more fun than the other one. The other one had to do with these guys given a job to steal a pot of gold from the end of a rainbow by this guy named John, which sounds ridiculous, as ridiculous as it sounds, but it ends up they actually find the gold, and then they get greedy and want to keep it for themselves, and now they have John and a killer leprechaun after them. This one is about a home that was inherited by this girl named Tilly by her deceased father, and this home was built using a leprechaun's gold. So Tilly and all her friends are in this home that she just inherited, and this leprechaun comes to the home to pick them off one by one because the home was bought and built through his gold. So it's a slasher film, a really, really, really B level slasher film, with better kills than the last one, I will say. But you're really getting into the same thing. Louisa Warren is back in it again. She's playing a girl named Misha, but a different girl. One thing I forgot to mention in the last review about the Leprechaun's Game is I did like the ending where you have this like miscarriage scene where the Misha's like water breaks, and then she's being chased by the leprechaun as her water is breaking. So I like that finale with that film. This one she already has a kid, but again it's a different kid because there's this guy named Steven who is like the real estater of the house, or the guy who kind of handles the inheritance, or whatever you want to call it. And Misha is with this guy named Steven. It's kind of weird though, because Steven drowns in a pool at the beginning of the film, and then like towards the middle of the film you see them like together. I don't know if that was a flashback. I honestly, to be 100% honest, to be 100% honest, didn't really care at that point. Both these films had a very hard time keeping my attention, unfortunately. I love films that are so good that they're bad, but these were a chore. I mean, I don't know. They didn't work for me. They didn't work for me. If you're a huge St. Patty's Day fan, they're free on Tubi, so I mean, you can give them a chance. I personally can't recommend them, but they could be fun. I mean, I'm sure they're going to have their audience, 100%. I'm just not that audience, but I'm sure they will have their audience. Both of them are British films and British productions, so the entire cast is British, and they are what they are. Like I said in the other review, I don't like the Leprechaun. I don't like how like he's basically played by like a shorter guy, like not a little person, but like just a shorter guy, like a guy that looks like 5'4", and like a skinny. But he doesn't look like a leprechaun. He just looks like a short guy in a leprechaun costume and the worst leprechaun mask that you could possibly get. Like it's literally bought at a Halloween store. It's a rubber fucking mask, and there's no like you know, creepy leprechaun like charm to it at all. Like it's so, it just didn't work. Like I said, I'm not here to bash the film. Congrats to Louisa Warren for putting these films together. I'm sure she worked so hard in doing so. I'm sure these films are going to have their audience. They're fun. So if they were going for like if they weren't taking themselves seriously, then they worked for sure. They just I don't know, maybe a little bit more humor. Maybe they would have worked for me. Although this one does kind of amplify the humor a little bit more than the first one does. There's scenes where the leprechaun will like honk a girl's nose and it'll actually like honk like a clown, and then this girl does the same thing to the leprechaun and does the same thing. It's like jerka jerka. Yeah, it's I don't know. It is what it is, but they won't get my recommendation. But like I said, they will have their audience, and it's free on Tubi if you want to check them out. But that's really all I got. There's not much to say about these films. I already mentioned like the cool kills in it, and there's some melodrama that goes in here with like this guy who's a douchebag who's cheating on Tilly and all kinds of stuff like that. The opening is kind of cool with the real estate guy, the Stewart guy, how he's being chased around the house by the leprechaun. But like I said, a lot of it is underwhelming, unfortunately, for me anyway. But that's just my opinion. I'm just a movie reviewist and giving you my thoughts on Patty's Day. Maybe next year, because I have not reviewed the Leprechaun Warwick Davis films on this channel. Maybe I'll decide to next year, but I just found these films on Tubi and thought I'd check them out and talk about them. So that's them. We got Leprechaun's Game and Leprechaun's Curse. Yeah, go check them out if you want, but proceed with caution on them, basically. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice or if you like my film reviews, and I'll be back with more when I can, so stay tuned for that. Take care, have a good night, subscribe, and cheers.